Kakalosh Boker Or. Daf Yomi Masechet Batra Daf Kufayin Gimel Amud Aleph 173.1 says the Gemara Ve'lahad Tanya, that which we learned in a Braita. Keshem she'en motziin shtar chov ze al ze, just like you cannot come and take out a shtar chov one on the other. Kach motziim al achirim, they cannot be motzi on other people as well. Remember, we're talking about two people which have the same name. Okay, so b'mayka mipalge, what is the machloket exactly between these two? Right, Mandam, what's the machloket? Sorry. So here the machloket is, do we say that otiyot, which is a shtar, remember the shtar is considered otiyot, but it's like letters written on a document. So do we say that it's going to be acquired with mesira? That means giving over the shtar from the malve to the koneh is enough. So Tana Didan Savar, our Tana holds otiyot nikno b'mesira, the Tana bara Savar, and the Tana of the Braita holds and otiyot niknet b'mesira. Right? So it's a machloket. Meaning, when you come and you give over a document, does that mean now that you will make it a form of an acquisition or not? Our Tana holds, yes. The other Tana holds, no. Okay, until here we're clear? So says the Gemara, or if you want, you can answer another answer. That according to everybody, we do hold of otiyot nikno b'mesira. That means basically a shtar chov is a good form of acquisition. But here the question is, do you have to bring a proof or not? Tana Didan Savar, our Tana holds, and Tzarich Lavi Raya, you don't have to bring a proof, right? That in order to collect it. Even though there's two Yosef ben Shimons, you don't have to bring another proof. Why? If he has the document, it's probably him. There's another Yosef ben Shimon. What do I care? But it's nothing to do with me. Who has the document? He. So it's probably him. The Tana Bara Savar, but the other Tana holds, no, Tzarich Lavi Raya. You have to bring a proof that it's this Yosef ben Shimon, that he's the one that actually lent out the money and not the other one. Okay, the Itmar Bezu stated. He says, "Otiyot nikno b'mesira." Abaye Amar, Abaye says, "Tzarich lavi raya." But Rav Amar, "Tzarich lavi raya." You have a machloket. You have to bring a proof or not. Okay. Amar Abaye, Abaye comes and he says, "Minan, I mean, how do I know what's the proof to my words that you have to bring a proof?" The Tanya was we learned in the Braita. Imagine right now that you have a brother, right? He's one of the other brothers. Remember, they inherited from their father, and all of a sudden there's a shtar chov that comes out from his hands. So he says that shtar chov zeh, it belongs to him, and therefore he's coming to collect the shtar chov. Alav lavi raya, he has to bring the raya. My love, is it not the proof? Hu adin lacharine, is it not the proof then also by other people as well, which are not krovim? Meaning, if he comes right now and he's the one that has the shtar chov in his hand, he's saying, "Listen, it belongs to me." So now, in order to pay him up, he has to bring a proof. So therefore, the same thing. He also has to bring a proof. Meaning Abaye is trying to bring a proof that even if you have a shtar, you still need a proof. Yeah, that's what he's trying to say. So he says, Rava says, no. Shane achim teshamtu me'adadi. He says, brothers are different because they come and they grab from each other without any ochacha. And they're going to say that it has to do with them. Other people, they're not do that. Imagine right now, Richard and me have the same name. We're both called Rufal Asher. Yeah? So now what's going to happen? You think I'm going to come and just grab a document from him and say that you owe me money instead of you owing him money because we have the same name? Saying that doesn't, if it's two brothers, that could happen. If it's two brothers, their family, yeah, they come, they grab the document from each other. He owes me the money. That could happen. But if it's going to be two other people, since when are you going to do such a thing? There are those that say, now we're going to change the Lashon a little bit. Amar Rava. That means beforehand we had that Abaye was trying to justify his position. Now Rava is going to say, how do I know this? That I'm correct, you don't have to bring a proof. So one of the brothers have to come and bring a proof. The only brothers have to do it because they could grab it from each other, and therefore the brother has to bring a proof. But other people, you do not have to bring a proof. Abaye, according to Abaye, Achin was a chidush. Because I would have thought to say, since they grab it from each other, I would say they're more careful. And therefore they don't have to bring a proof. That they still have to bring a proof. Meaning Abaye comes and uses the same. Meaning again, one more time. The first Ikadamri was basically Abaye bringing a proof that you do not need to, that you do need to bring a raya. And snatch. He says brothers because they snatch. Rava answered, since they snatch, that's why you have to bring a raya. But if it's not somebody else, you don't have to bring a raya. The flip was the Ibaitema, the Ika de Amri, which was basically, no. Rava is bringing a proof. And Rava says that only brothers you have to bring a proof. Mashma, anybody else, you do not need a proof. And so Abaye, that's incorrect. The brothers, I would have thought to say that you have to bring a proof only because since they grab it for each other, they're going to be more cautious and more careful. Kamashmalan, that they still have to bring a proof. But that which we learned, just like they're going to come and they're going to take out one shtar chov on each other, meaning one Yosef ben Shimon could take out another shtar against another Yosef ben Shimon, so too they could take it out against somebody else. What is the machloket then? So he says, basically this, can you write a document to the loveh even though the malveh is not there? Remember, the loveh is the borrower. The malveh is the lender. Are you going to write a debt document to the lender, to the borrower, sorry, even though the lender is not there or not? Right? Why? Tana Didan, our Tana of our Mishnah holds that we write a document to the loveh, even though the lender is not there. Why? Something is going to go to a sofer and edim. And he's going to tell them, come, write me a document. I want to borrow money from Yosef ben Shimon, my friend. After they come, they write it and sign it. Nakitale, he's going to come to Yosef ben Shimon. And he tells them, give me $100. Right? And therefore, he's going to say, no, but we have to go to here's the document. He already has the document ready. He has everything. The sofer, the edim, everything's here. Here it is. Lend me the $100. The other Tana says we don't do such a thing. You never write it unless the lender is actually there. Okay? Fine. Next, 2 dots. The 2 dots says as follows. Im nimtza le'echad ben shtarotav shtorosh Yosef ben Shimon parua shtarot shneim bruim. Imagine if one of them comes and he has a document that says that the debt documents of Yosef and Shimon are paid up, so therefore, right, they're both going to be paid up. Meaning both from both different Yosef and Shimons. So says the Gemara, Tama dinimsa, only because he found it. Halo nimsa. If you didn't find it, mati mepak. Well, you could actually take it out. Vehanan, but I thought we learned velo echar, right? Velo acher yachol leotzi alen shtar chov tnan. I thought that you can do such a thing. You can take out a shtar chov on them. So Rav Yirmiyah says, we're talking about Mishulashin. What does it mean Mishulashin? Remember, you added an extra generation, meaning it's Yosef ben Shimon ben Reuven, and the other one's Yosef ben Shimon ben Yaakov. Yeah, so they went up. That's Mishulash. Mishulash is like 3, so it's going up 3. It's times 3, right? Tavra bishma deman dichtiv. So he says, so why don't you just look at the receipt? What's it written? Amar Voshia, it's Mishulashin only in the shtar, but not in the shovar. Meaning the document has 3 generations, but the receipt only had 2 generations. So you don't know whose it is then. Meaning the receipt only just says Yosef ben Shimon paid back. Now 1 second, there's 2 Yosef ben Shimon. On the documents, you had Yosef ben Shimon ben Yaakov, or whatever. You continue going up, but not on this. So says the Gemara, Abaye says, Hachi Kamar. This is what we say. Nimtza lelove ben shtarotav, shtaro shel Yosef ben Shimon alai parua, hashtarot shneim pruim. He says that really be'emet, the way that he's explaining it is a little bit different. He's saying that really be'emet, it's in the love's possession, in the borrower's possession, and there it says shtaros shel ben Shimon, which is that I'm obligated to him, is paid back. So therefore, the shtarot of both of them are going to be paid back, and therefore nobody could come and collect the debts from him because basically he has a proof that it was actually paid back. So so how do they do then? Yeshaleshu, always do it three generations. Okay, V'tanya, we actually learned, so basically two different options. Either you always go up another generation, so you don't have the problem of the Yosef ben Shimon. So go Yosef ben Shimon ben Yaakov and Yosef ben Shimon ben Reuven, right? Or you have another thing, write a siman. So let's say one of them is a Kohen. So you write down Yosef a Kohen bar Shimon, right? The other one's not a Kohen. So you already know exactly who it's talking about. A Kohen, Levi, basically you write a siman, and by having a siman, you know exactly what's going on. Okay? Until you're clear? Okay? Mishnah on the bottom of Kufa and Gimel Amud Aleph. How merely know somebody that comes and he tells his son, Shtar ben shtarotav parua. So he comes and he says, there's one shtar between my documents that are going to be paid off. But he doesn't know which one it is. Shtaro kulam pruim. So all of them are going to be paid back. Right? So what does that mean? We're going to say that they're all paid back, and therefore every single one he's going to say it's probably paid. So imagine the guy comes and he says, he says it's probably paid. So he says, Nimtza le'echad sham shnaim, right? He says if you're going to find two shtarei chov on one person, agadol parua v'katan eno parua. So I'm going to say that the bigger one was paid off and not the smaller one. Okay, only the bigger one, not the smaller one. So says the Gemara, Amar Rava, Rava says, Shtar lecha biyadi parua. If the shtar that you have in my hand is going to be parua, and therefore he's got two shtarot, hagadol parua v'katan parua. So the big one is paid off and not the smaller one. Chov lecha biyadi parua, kulam pruim. But he says shtarot, everything's paid off. Meaning like this. One more time. If I come and I have a choice, and I'm going to tell you I paid something back. Now you have two documents. I owe you $100 and I owe you 50. So I'm going to automatically say that I paid you off the higher amount, right? Why? Because since I know that for sure one of them is paid off, I'm going to obviously say that it was the bigger one, right? And therefore, now you have to bring a proof if you wanted to get the bigger one. If not, then you could just take the smaller one and that's it. So he says, but if you're going to come and you're going to say it's a chov lecha, right, parua, so the shtarot, all the shtarot are going to be parua. So Amalei Ravina Rava al Me'ata, we're going to ask a question now. Sadi mechura lecha. If a person comes and he says, my field is sold to you. So sadeh gdola mechura lo, so it's a big one. Sadeh sheyesh li mechura lecha. He says sadeh that I have is sold to you. It's all of them. So he says, so what's going on? So he says hatam yad bal hashtar al tachtona. Whether it's going to be the lender or the yoreshim, they always have the lower hand. And therefore, they always have to bring a proof to which one it is bemet, paid off or not paid off. So therefore, that's what they're coming and saying. That's why whenever there's a safek, you're always going to say it's probably the meaning. Since they always have the lower hand, so they have to prove it. So now you have two documents, a bigger one, right, and a smaller one, right. So what happens? I'm going to say the bigger one was paid off. You want to prove otherwise, but you have to prove otherwise. Okay. Yes. Always. That means basically he's always, because he's the balashtar, he's always the one with the lower hand. So the one with the lower hand is a yuresh, an inheritor, or the malve, the lender. Okay? Fine. Last Mishnah on the page. The last Mishnah, last line, right? Second Mishnah on the page. It says, Hamalvet chavero lidei arev. If you borrow money through a guarantor, lo yipara min arev. Don't get paid back from the arev. Yeah, 173b. But if he told him, Al menat sheparami mi shertze, that I could come and get paid from whoever I want, yiparami arev, so then he could get paid back from the arev. By the way, that's called an arev kablan. Arev kablan meaning there's a difference between a guarantor and an arev kablan. Arev kablan is that you're a guarantor that I could even come to you first, right? We're meaning
done at the time of the loan.
Yes, obviously it has to be done. That's what we're talking about here.
There is this case where they do it later.
Okay, fine, but here we're talking about at the time of the loan. You come and you make arev kablan. Why? Because, for example, sometimes I don't want to run after you. So I come and I get an Erev Kablan. I know that Erev Kablan is a lot of money and he's trustworthy. So I'm going to come to him. I'm going to collect right away. To you, you start with your stories and your this and that. So what Erev Kablan? If it's a regular Erev, so you're right. I first have to break my head with you. If you don't give it, so then I go to the other guy. You understand? You have to be very, very careful when you're doing a guarantor for somebody. Yes. Yes, exactly. That's Erev Kablan.
And then the guarantor will collect from him.
Yeah, if
He'll
he can.
worry about it.
If he can.
But Rabbi Shimon Gamliel doesn't like it.
Yeah. He says, Rashbag, right? If he's got properties, never go to the Arev. If a person's an Arev to a woman in a Ketubah, and the husband's divorcing her, that direna na'a, right? Which means that he's going to be madur hana'a, right? In order that he shouldn't, that he should never take her back forever, meaning that she's never allowed to benefit from him. So in order not to be permitted neder by a chacham, you have to do it al dat rabim, right? Meaning you're making like a neder that does not have a tarat nedarim, right? So therefore, what are you doing? Shema yasu kinuni al nechasim shel zeh v'yachzir et ishto. Everyone understood what happened. Look what happened. These are con artists, right? The guy comes and he has to write. He's getting married. So he comes and he tells a guy, by the way, can you be a guarantor for my ketubah? The guy comes and he signs off. He's a guarantor. Now what happens is he comes and he says,
Kablan or not?
Which one? Yeah. So you listen to what he's saying. He says, what is he going to do? He's going to come and he's going to right now get divorced. I don't have any money. So Mr. Arev, please come. You have to pay. What does he do? He pays the ketubah. 5 minutes later, he gets married to her again.
This happens with either a kablan or
So how do they do it? You know how do they do it then? Very, very simple. The Arev is going to make sure that I would make a Shavua al Dat Rabim. Now remember, when I do it al Dat Rabim, you can never do a Tarat Nedarim because it's on everybody. So you can, meaning if he just makes a Shavua, okay, he goes to the rabbi, he does a Tarat Nedarim, and that's it, he's done. No, he has to do it al Dat Rabim, that she's never allowed to benefit from him. So he can never get married to her again. So therefore, it stops them from doing this abarja. Right? Because if he's gonna now, he's divorcing her. You have to pay up the ketubah, and then 5 minutes later he gets married to her. No, it doesn't work because he can never get married to her again. You understand?
To the same.
To the same wife. You understand? So they do that. They do this. Yeah, you see. Yeah, you make money. Yeah, you do that. No problem. Yeah, fine. Says the Gemara. Kufa in Gimel Amud Bet. The Gemara. My tama. What's the reasoning why? Right, the malveh cannot be paid back by the arev when he's still alive and he's in front of us. Right, he doesn't have any money. So what's the problem? So Rabbi Rav Yosef Damri Tavayu Gavra Shlimatli, Gavra Shlimalach. He says you came and you put the money in the guy's hands. So too I'm going to give it back to the guy, which means right that the itchayvut is already done.
Its only responsibility was to produce the person.
Exactly.
This is a sheet that says my job is only to give you the guy. You can only collect if he's dead or disappeared. Or
exactly, but not just coming to me. So Matki for Rav Nachman. So Rav Nachman comes and he asks, "Hi Dina de Parsai." He says, "These are the name of the Persians, right? What's going on over here?" Adraba, Batar we go after the Arab and we collect from him. What's going on? But rather, Bedina de Parsai don't ever tell him. But rather, it's like a Bedina of Parsim that they don't give a reason. Rav Nachman, my lo. What does that mean that you can get back from the Arab? Lo yitba Arab tchila. Never go straight to the Arab. So Tanim Yachi, that's what we also learned also as well, right? Never go to the Arev first. But if he said on condition, meaning when he took the loan, he says on condition, then he could go to the Arev first. Meaning lichatchila, never go to the Arev. First, always go to the guy, and then afterwards, if not, you go. What? Well, okay, 1 second before that. But if he said no, he says if it's Arev Kavlan, he's allowed to. That's what he says. If he says on condition that I could come in, so then he could go to the Arev Tchila. So he says, Amar Ravuna says, Minayin la'arev de mishtabed. How do you know that an arev becomes subjugated? So he says, the chtiv was, we learned it by Yehuda, and this is Reuven, Yehuda. This is to do with Yosef, not Yosef, it was Binyamin, right? By Yaakov Avinu. He says, Anochi arevenu miyadi tevakshenu. When he went and he said, he actually accepted upon himself hitchayvut that he's responsible. So therefore he came and he said, Anochi arevenu miyadi tevakshenu. You're going to ask him for me, that I'm the arev. So you're asking him from me. That's where you get it from. So matki flarochasta hakablanuti. That's an arev kablan. That's not a regular arev. Dichtiv tenauto al yadi ani ashevenu. Right? He says, give it to me and I'll bring him back. So therefore, that's an arev kablan. That's not a regular arev. So Alam Rav Yitzchak, but rather Rav Yitzchak comes and he says, Hacha, you're right. It's another pasuk. Lekach bigdo ki arev zar uba nochriach chavleu. ואומר בני אם ערבת לרעך, תקעת לזר כפיך, נוקשת במרפיך, נלקטת במרפיך, עשה זאת, אפוא בני וינצל, כי באת בכף רעך, לך להתרפס ולהב רעך. Okay, basically like this. You're taking the beged of the arev. Why? Because you became an arev for this person, right? So he comes and he says, right? So the pasuk is talking to the lender, and he's saying, take the clothing of the arev because he's basically chayav to pay you back. Okay, now we're not talking about Arev Kablan. But it doesn't say Kablanu, there's a regular Arev. Okay, now he says, right, the concept of Chavleu is Chavol Tachmol, is taking a guarantee. Okay, so he says, Veomer, and it says also in the Pasuk, Beni, my son, if you became an Arev for your friend, Takat alazal kapecha, and you shook his hand to be an Arev, or Nokashta bin Meficha, you got caught by your words, because you went and you cursed him or whatever it was. You got caught by your words. It says, Zot, you have to do this and you're going to be saved. What is that? Right? Go. So he says, prepare, like humble yourself, right? In front of him. What does that mean? If you have money by him, meaning open up your hand to pay him back. And if not, you're going to have to get a lot of friends to start asking for mechila from him. That's what it means. Rahav is like a harbe. You're getting a lot of people to come. What does that mean? That means you're basically come. That means if you don't have the money to pay back, you're going to have to get a lot of friends to come to him and say, listen, by the way, the guy, he doesn't have a lot of money. Can you forgive him? Can you do this? Can you do that? You understand? That's what you're going to have to come and you're going to have to Amar Ameimar comes and he says, Arev de mishtabed. When you're talking about now an Arev that he becomes mishu'abad. The machloket Rabbi Yudah Rabbi Yosef. It's a machloket Rabbi Yudah Rabbi Yosef. The Rabbi Yosef that man asmachta kanya. According to Rabbi Yosef that he says it's smachta kanya, Arev mishtabed. Rabbi Yudah that he says it's smachta is not kanya, Arev lo mishtabed. It's not going to be mishtabed. Meaning that, do you say that? Remember, the asmachta is that the fact that you're coming, you're obligating yourself to something. Does that subjugate you or not? According to Ameimar, an Arev is mishtabed. But again, it's a machloket whether an asmachta is going to be koneh or not. So Amal Ravashi lemeimar hamasim b'chol yom asmachta lo kanya. Well, he says 1 second. We paskin asmachta is lo kanya, but he says but an arev is mishtabed. So he says Elam Ravashi, but Ravashi says ba'u ana'ad kamehemele kamanu mishtabed nafshe. He says no, the fact that he's benefiting, he is mishtabed. Meaning, remember that there's hana'ah. When you become an arev, there's a benefit in it. You know what it is? People are somech on you. Meaning, when I come and I say, listen, you want to be a guarantor, it means you're a person that they trust, a person that's trustworthy, a person that's a strong, that you have money, that you've got. Because they're not just going to get any Joe Schmo to become a narev, you understand? You have to, so you get a benefit. That benefit that they're using you as a narev, in that benefit, you're actually mishabed yourself. You subjugate yourself. And therefore, even though usually it could be, you're right, and a smachta is not koneh, because now they are somech on you. That you're somebody. What do you mean now? So now the Gemara comes and it says, Ve'im amar. Now if the guy comes and he says, I'm going to do it, that I'm going to go to Arev Kablan, basically. I'm going to go to the Arev first. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Lo shanu ela she'en nechasim lo. That's only if he doesn't have properties. But if he does have properties, you can't go to the Arev. He says, yeah, but 1 second, but then let's see the Sefer. The Sefer said, Rashbag says, if he's got properties, he shouldn't go to the Arev first. Smash that the Tanakama holds, that there's no difference. So says the Gemara, you're right. It's lacking. This is what you have to say. If you're going to borrow money from that Arev, you're not going to get paid back from that Arev. If he said, you can't go to that Arev. One of these words, if there's no property to the borrower. But if you do have properties for the borrower, don't get paid back from the Arev. Right? So here, by the way, we are learning that there's actually 3 dinim. 1 din is a regular arev. A regular arev, you can never go to him first. There's another one which is basically you're saying that I'm going to come to him first, but he's not an arev kablan. And then the third one is the arev kablan. The arev kablan, even if the guy has properties, you go straight to the kablan. You go straight to the arev kablan. But the other one, if he's not an arev kablan, even though he said, I want to go to him first, if he's got properties, you cannot go to him first.